Hello everyone, fans of Vodník. Thank you for joining me for my 2023 yearly recap. As always, let's start with my musical releases this year in chronological order. On April 7th, 2023, my band Control released our song Unleash the Insane. Fun fact about this song is that it's only a minute and 15 seconds, putting it into grindcore territory. On April 21st, I released my cover song of Johan's Bajin, of course under the name Vodník. It's my tribute to Czech folk music and Ivan Mládek. You can check out the lyric video for it on my channel. Over the next few months after April, my band Control was in the process of remastering our first album, and we did the final versions of Church of Orion, Prophet of Oblivion, and Dead Space, so those 3 songs. The rest of the album is almost finished too. It's just in the final phases, and we'll be releasing it soon enough. On July 29th, I dropped a double, even though I past dated it. I'll talk about that in a second. So, I dropped 2 songs that were I wrote them around 2012. They're called A Path in the Forest and A Long Way Home. It's kind of like a 2-part song. Anyway, it's played and recorded on a 7-string acoustic guitar, which is a little different from what I usually do. And through releasing this song, it helped me come up with a little bit of a strategy for when I finally record certain songs that I wrote in the past. So I'll release them at first as new releases so the algorithm picks them up and people become aware of it. And then I'll let a couple of months go by once people already know about it, and I will change some of the information settings on my distributors so that it actually says the older date when I want it to be released from when it was written. Unfortunately, it doesn't put things on anyone's radar if I say that it was released a long time ago, right off the bat. So that's my tip. Just use the algorithm, first release it with an upcoming date, and then later, if you want to put it back into its place, then change the date later, once you've already gotten the traction from it. On August 26th, Control released our final single, every song is a single, from our new album Control. The song is called Total Death. The cool thing about this song is that the intro and outro theme is inspired from the movie The Running Man. It's like one of those old school Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So it had a sci-fi theme to it. We metalized it. Check it out. It's cool. September 8th was when the next Rhombus single came out, which is my side project with my girlfriend Adriana. The song is called Tato and is dedicated to her father. It's a bit of like a personal story. I promise you won't have to wait as long for the next song. September 30th was the day that we officially released Control All Delete as a second full album. So you can check it out now for 8 songs that represent our best work, finest work to date. And exactly a month after that, on October 30th, we released the instrumental versions of those exact same songs. In case you do not wish to hear our screams of anguish. That's understandable. So there's something for everyone. For this next part of the video, I'm going to be talking about all the videos that I've released in 2023 on my YouTube channel. The first one was on February 2nd, and it was a teaser for an upcoming song called Rozklad, of course, for my solo project, Vodník. Now this song is still in progress. I'm working on it together with a band called Aron, some good friends of mine. And they've been a little busy working on their own album, which they just released, and it's really good. I suggest checking it out. I believe it's called SWNPL. Anyway, I think that this song's next on their agenda, and they're going to be working together with me to take it to the next level. On May 4th, I released a video called Tim Henson Taught Me How to Thumb. This video stemmed off of a video that Tim released on the Polyphia channel about this etude exercise that he created using the thumping method. The technique's also used by Tosin Abasi, Ando-san, I'm sure there are others as well. And it looks to me like a really viable technique, something that could end up leading to really cool things if I were to learn how to do it, which is coming along pretty well, by the way. I've still been practicing it on a semi-regular basis. I think I'm getting pretty good at it, and I'm kind of putting my own little twist on things, so hopefully you'll be able to see that shine through in some of my upcoming material. And like I tell all my students, it's important not to have to rely on a pick all the time. There are important things to be learned from both using and not using a pick. Bit of a jump here to October 22nd, which is when I dropped my Lundgren M7 unboxing installation tone comparison video. Huge thanks to Johan Lundgren once again. I reached out to him regarding a sponsorship for Lundgren pickups, and he gave it to me. So I'm now proudly endorsed by Lundgren pickups. I plan on using the M7s and M8s for all of my upcoming material. And if anyone's looking for some awesome pickups, I'm sending them your way, Johan. So go to Lundgren website, lundgren.se, and go pick some up. November 2nd was when I uploaded my Johan's Bajen lyric video on my channel. This one's for all of my Czech fans. I wanted to do a traditional Czech song that a lot of people know, and well, it's also frankly a hilarious song. Super good tune. And as you probably noticed, there's no lack of imagination with me when it comes to cover songs. Lots of people have said it before, anything can be metal, okay? Even something from the 1970s. Next up, on November 17th, I released my video supporting metal bands by giving away their merch. That's a fresh idea I had for part of my In the Wild series on YouTube. It was a lot of fun. I made some new friends, got some great interactions, and helped out some of the smaller guys, such as myself. And, I'm sure that there are plenty of smaller metal bands out there that could use similar support, but I gave away t-shirts that I didn't wear anymore that were from smaller local bands for free, as long as whoever took them would add a subscription to that band's YouTube channel or Spotify, Instagram, whatever they had. So that was a lot of fun and a great success. On December 4th, I released a little bit of an off-topic video that had to do with a personal story of mine. The video is called Why Drivers Are Getting Away with Running Over Cyclists in Canada. Not music or giving away things related, but if you wanted a little bit of insight about that, I think it's important to watch. And lastly, I just released my Christmas guitar giveaway video, where I gave one of my students who I felt were the most deserving a free guitar, because I believed that they would use it the most. I'm gonna be real with myself, I had like 8 guitars. I felt like it had potential to make a positive difference in a young person's life. So there we have it. I only wish that some other people could also be as generous, especially during the Christmas spirit. Let's be real with ourselves. Ask yourselves, what do you really need? How much do you really need? And how can you make a positive difference in someone else's life? So in total, I've got 7 videos released this year, which is pretty cool. You could probably tell that the momentum on my channel has picked up a little bit recently, so I'm going to try to carry that forward into 2024. And I feel like right now would be a good time to remind y'all to hit that red button that's down below, somewhere down here. Okay? It says subscribe on it. I think you might know what I'm talking about. That takes us through to the last part of this video, where I talk about everything else important that's going on. First of all, I've taken a little bit of a new undertaking this year, which is very exciting for me because essentially I'm running my own metal camp. It's like a summer camp for metal music. You can put some rock and roll in there too, so rock and metal music, and it's for adults only, so you gotta be 18 plus. That'll be happening this year for the first time during the month of August, and it'll be only 1 week. The appeal of this camp is that it'll have a lot of featured guest celebrities from some pretty big bands, and I'll be announcing that soon when I release the first flyer for it. And it's going to be relatively affordable, a lot more affordable than the other musician camps that you've heard of recently. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the surprise, so keep a lookout for info about that, and it's going to be awesome. That's all I got to say for now. Let's talk about the Frankie Palmieri fundraiser that I started last year. So as many of you may know, I'm trying to get Frankie Palmieri featured on one of my songs, Osel. I've already talked to him about it, got his price, and to cover all of his expenses, he needs 3,000 USD. Out of that 3,000, I've raised about $40 so far. So that's 1% toward my goal. At this rate, it's going to take a very long time, but I want you all to know that I still haven't given up hope about this being a possibility. He's right there. He's willing to do the tracks, lay them down. Just gotta cough it up, you know what I mean? If you want to help me out with that fundraiser, I'll put a link to it in the description. There's also one more fundraiser that we need to recap, and that is the Control fundraiser for the pressing of our second album going into phase 2. This fundraiser is going a bit better. Our goal is $2,100. We're currently at $335, so that's about 16%. However, we're in a little bit of a predicament about that right now. So as a part of the fundraiser, we've made promises to ship whoever pays $20 or more will get a physical copy of our second album shipped straight to their door. And whoever contributes $40 or more will get the album and a t-shirt to their door. The tricky part is that we are not at the point yet where we have gotten enough money to get the album itself pressed. For that, we need about $1,200 to $1,500 to make between 200 and 500 copies of it. Canadian currency, by the way. So we're stuck in a little bit of a limbo here, so that we have to wait until we get enough to get the pressing done before we can start shipping off those pre-orders. Again, we're still encouraging people to support that so that they can get their own copy. And we do apologize for the wait. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. In any case, we haven't forgotten, and thank you for your support. On the topic of Control, we have planned our first tour ever with Fall of Stasis, and there will be also some opening acts for the local bands for each city that we play in. The tour will take place between March 1st and March 17th. And within that span, we're going to be playing 9 shows in 9 different cities. The tour will span all the way across from the Maritimes in the east end of the country, like, you know, Halifax, all the way from Nova Scotia to Windsor, which is in Western Ontario. So we'll be hitting Maritimes, Quebec, and then Ontario for a total of 9 shows. And I hope to see some of you guys out there at those dates if you want to come and support in person. Next, you might remember that in the last recap video I mentioned an upcoming contract with Sony Records. So the situation with Autopsy is that we've already written a full album. It's about 8 songs, maybe 9 if you include the bonus track. But we're in the process right now of getting the vocals finished. The instrumentals are all taken care of. So until we get that finalized, the deal has been put on hold. Not canceled, but just postponed. I can't really speculate further about it at the moment, but hopefully, you know, it'll live up to the great potential that the material is showing. What's next for Rhombus? Well, we actually already have a new song called Interrobang, completely written, finished, ready to release as soon as we finish the cover art for it, which shouldn't be too much longer. And this song, let me tell you, it is something fresh, 100% something like nothing you've ever heard before. It features Travis Orban on drums. Yes, the Travis Orban, ex-Periphery, Sky's Airplane, currently the drummer for Darkest Hour. So he absolutely knocked it out of the park. and filmed a drum playthrough for it, so that will be coming out as soon as the song is released. It's a tough one to describe. It's heavy as heck, even though it's predominantly in the major scale. Plus, you'll get to hear a bit of an evolution in our vocals. I managed to get Adriana to do some growlies, and she's really good at screaming, believe it or not. So it should be a really good mesh of both growling and melodic singing vocals. After that, I also got to update you guys about how the remaster of Arrival is going, which is Control's first album. We're in the last stages of remastering this entire album, so it sounds like a million times better. I would know because I mixed the first version and I'm not a producer. So we're just wrapping up the last little bit of that and possibly adding a bonus track so that we can re-release it as a deluxe edition. Here's a fun fact. Control played 18 shows in 2023, which is actually probably the most shows that I've ever played in 1 year in my entire life. So that's a new record for me, and I'll try to beat that next year. But that's really awesome, really proud of that, and big thanks to whoever was able to come out and see us play. Vodník's album Time Traveler is in the process of being released with vocals now. There's going to be 2 more versions. I think I mentioned this before, but there's going to be an English vocal version and a Czech vocal version. At the moment, I'm focusing mostly on the English vocals, so we'll get that completed. It'll be the blue version of the album. And then once that is finished, then I'll have time to focus on the Czech version. The English version will have all featured vocalists. I'll do some backup vocals, but I'm putting the spotlight on featured vocalists. And there's probably going to be 1 or 2 songs with any particular featured vocalist on it in the album. So far I got a theme going where most of the tracks, the vocalists do 2 songs each for most of them. Probably not going to do that with Frankie because he's expensive as hell, but everyone else, they get an encore. And then the Czech version, I'm going to do that all myself. We'll see how it goes. Life is Good. Remember when I said that I was going to do a cover of Life is Good by Future and Drake? Well, I'm still going to do it, but it just looks like might not be with Drusif at this point. He's been a busy man lately, being on Musician Mansion and all that. And he's also been dropping some bangers this year, so shout out to Drusif. Good job, man. Keep up the great work. Still a huge fan. Even if you don't have availability to work with me, it's all good. Life is good. So I'm still gonna get that done one way or another. Got the first half of the song done so far in full. Now, just gotta think about what I'm gonna do about the second half. And I might throw that in with some more hip-hop covers, which I haven't done last year. I'll bring it back this year. Speaking of covers, I'm still working on some Final Fantasy covers. The next one coming up is called A Secret Sleeping in the Deep Sea. It's from the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, and I'll be working together with a bassist named Gabriel Bateman, and there will be also a keyboardist involved that has yet to be determined, but it's going to be a little bit out of my Genty Thal norm. It's going to be a bit more on the orchestral side and Shredfest. So we'll just call it a Shredfest for now. Let's talk about my playlist on Spotify, Gent 2023, which is now Gent 2024. Great success. We have passed 4,000 listeners, followers, whatever. People who listen to the playlist. There's a lot of them now. Over 4,000! Which is great for the metal community. It really makes me happy to see people supporting smaller bands, supporting each other. It's a competitive industry, so we all gotta support one another, you know? Not just the fans, but also the artists. How's my YouTube channel doing? Well, it's currently at 678 subscribers, which is about 100 more than where it was at this time last year. Yes, and I appreciate every one of you. Alright, I want to say thanks again to everyone. Check out my link tree, should be right here, on top of my hand, between here, or you can also check it out in the description below. And if you want to see what it's all about, then just click that link and check it out. Yes, I rhymed out with out. That's all from me. Legendary Vodník, out.
Legendary Vodník, Legendary Vodník. He makes lots of music, and he gives away things.